Morning.
Morning. Good morning.
All right, David.
Mike, does your COVID list remain the same? And can you talk a little bit about, looks like an update.
Well, Rich wants to speak. You know, he has to, we got to give him something to talk about. You got your card.
Corey Clement, non-COVID illness, will not practice today. Same thing for Quentin Bohanna, non-COVID illness. Tyron Smith, Cedric Wilson, shoulder, and Randy Gregory, calf, will not practice today.
Thank you, Rich.
You're welcome.
And Greg's still on the protocol.
With what you did with your special team, a lot of those guys yesterday, is some of that holding them out to avoid any sort of outbreak, and will that continue today? Or?
It will not continue today. It was just being smart yesterday. So everybody was in the meetings. So we're back at it.
What did you like about your new kicker? That did you just basically win the competition head-to-head?
Yeah, definitely. I was just standing out there going through the competition. It was clearly, had a good workout and was very accurate. And so it's good to have him back.
How does, obviously he's never kicked in a regular season game. From a game management style, does that change anything for you when you have an inexperienced kicker?
I just think you got to watch the week's work. You know, today, we have PAT and field goal blocks, so we'll go through our sequence there, and I'll have a chance to observe them all week. So we'll just make it part of our Saturday plan where we kind of set the limits, and obviously we're playing indoors, so we'll have a pretty good idea what our mark is.
Randy's been dealing with his knee a few weeks now. Is it getting worse, or what's this?
No, this is an injury Randy suffered in practice yesterday. We were going to it was in the one-on-one period, and it'll be a multiple-week injury.
With Tyron, has it been discussed about possible surgery since it's bone spurs, or can rest kind of alleviate that problem?
I know Tyron's he's making progress, so he's better this week than he was last week. So.
Can you talk about your rotation now with Gregory, who will rotate in on there, and just when you say multiple weeks, is there a chance he'll go on the IR list and come back?
I mean, that's a possibility. So we'll continue to get the information. We got the MRI late last night, so there's still some discussions that we need to go through.
Can you talk about your defensive end rotation and just how?
Well, I mean, it's I think it's obvious, we're not getting into the specifics of how we're going to play the game, but I think that obviously Dorrance is back, so that'll increase in how we rotate in the third and fourth spot. That'll we'll see how it shakes out Sunday.
What did the MRI results say in terms of
sorry?
the nature of the injury on the calf? What did the MRI?
It's a calf strain. Yeah.
When you look at, obviously Dak missed one game and Gallup has missed whatever number, is it comparable to either one of those two guys?
First thing, I don't think there's not a pattern between the multiple players, because we always look at how and where it happened. So Michael's was different than Dak's. I think its location is similar to Dak's.
How badly do you feel for Randy, because he was playing a pretty key player for you?
Absolutely. No, I think he was probably one of our best players, or clearly make the argument. Probably clearly one of our best players on defense. So yeah, it's very disruptive. Our team and our defensive players feed off of his activity, and yeah, definitely feel. He's having a heck of a year, but he was back in there this morning, and he'll attack the rehab just like he has attacked everything else.
Considering the Marcus might not be back until December, Gregory, has there been discussions about maybe we need to bring someone else in here to kind of help with that position?
I mean, right now I'm focused on the players that are here. So, we made some adjustments, once learning the news, after practice yesterday. So we feel good about our plan. We'll just stay the course.
How frustrating is it? You had him limited in practice, trying to be cautious, and he gets hurt in practice anyway.
Yeah, I just think, injuries are part of the game, and yeah, it's unfortunate when they happen. It's, really the hard part's more on a personal level. It's we have to keep moving and get the next player ready, and just it's more about play time and rotation. But you always feel terrible for the individual, and just like we've already stated, Randy was having a great year, and there's how it happened. It's unfortunate.
Mike, you've given up a lot of big plays. I think the most in the league in the passing game this year, 25+ plays. Is that, in your mind, mostly an issue of not getting a pass rush, not proper coverage, poor tackling? What would you attribute?
Well, I think you can go through the different components of it. You know, I mean, last week, you know, the big plays came again in the run game. You know, and that was more, you know, tackling. I think when I'm looking back on the pass explosives, I think particularly, you know, when they happen in the game and how they're happening is you got to really pay attention to. So, you know, and you know, offenses are going to play us a lot more aggressively because of our offense. You know, it's part of being a complementary football team. So, I mean, I think we need to continue to learn from it. But, you know, I think it's always a combination of the two. I don't think it's just clearly coverage or pass rush.
Does Micah get more looks? His versatility kind of help you in this situation with Randy going down?
Game starts at noon Sunday, Todd, so don't be late.
How was Dak yesterday in practice, coming back after the game he had?
Dak's good. I mean, we're you know, focused on the game plan. You know, obviously, I thought he had a good day. Just going back through the practice, yeah. I mean, he's back to practicing normal. You know, no limitations. So looked good.
Gallup remain on target?
Yeah, definitely. I thought Michael had a good day, so it was good to see him get back out there. Just, you know, have a couple routes that just timing a little quick on the one slant, but you know, I think you're going to have that. But yeah, I thought Michael Gallup looked good.
Mike, what does he add to the offense in terms of just he's played one game, but how was his camp? What kind of dimension?
Michael Gallup? Oh, I think Michael will hit his stride. You know, I think it's just, you know, when we get to Saturday and go through the whole, you know, weeks of work, you know, I just think you got to be smart how much you use them. So, you know, so we'll see how the rotation goes. And obviously, you know, Amari and, you know, CD and Ced, you know, obviously we're being smart with Cedric just yesterday. So just really how we work out the reps, I think will be the biggest part. But I don't envision Michael being held back any.
When you have a player like you did with an injury like you had with Randy after going through one practice in the week, how much can you really change your defensive game plan, and how do you go about it when you know you're going to need to make some tweaks, and what's the process?
I mean, that's an excellent question. That's really what, you know, we talked about once we got upstairs, you know, yesterday. So you go through all the options, you know, probably no different than, you know, you're preparing your questions. So we did that, and we're pretty much going to decide to stay the course and just kind of move the play time around.
Your players have talked about how effectively Dan finds each of their strengths and utilizes them. How does that help in an instance like this, and what are some of the ways he shows that?
No, I think Dan does a tremendous job of that, and you know, and I think particularly with, you know, with the amount of depth that we have on defense. So, you know, we've been playing a lot of players on the defensive side of the ball, really from the beginning of the year. You know, we've had a lot of younger players play early, you know, out of necessity, and I think it's been a great experience, but it's, you know, I think it's just going to make us stronger as we move forward. So Dan does a really good job of, you know, finding and identifying everybody's superpower and playing that into their role, and, you know, and how the game plans are put together. So I think it's clearly a strength of the game planning process that he leads the charge on.
Is there an inordinate amount of calf strains this year? It seems like they're popping up more than we've seen in the past. I don't know if you looked at it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I look at all these fatigue injuries the same. I mean, that's part of where, you know, the state program was designed. I mean, that's the origin of it. You know, I was always a head coach of a really young football team, pushing the limits of, you know, how much you can practice them and so forth. So fatigue injuries are always at the forefront of my thinking. So, you know, how, based on, you know, the drill, you always look at the video, so, and you see how it happened. And as I said earlier, there's no pattern to all the strains as far as how and when they're happening. So, I look at them as more as isolated instances.
As the season's progressed, Mike, what have you seen from an eye defensively?
I tell you, I mean, he's, you know, you love his motor. You know, I think just, you know, the repeated mistake is kind of holding him back. You know, he's an aggressive player. He's actually done, I think he's taken a bigger step on special teams than I would say than defensively. You know, I mean, the fact that we had him on our punt team, and it tells you where we think of Bradley. So he's a young improving player. Just has to clean up a little bit of his discipline.
How unique a matchup is Cordero Patterson? Came into the league as a wide receiver and a kick returner. Now he's playing running back. You've been forced to play running backs before, or wide receivers before at running back in Green Bay. What are the unique challenges of having that kind of player back there, not knowing what he is on any given
Yeah.
play?
I mean, I have tremendous respect, and I have to, because I've seen him so productive from the other sideline for so many years. I mean, Devin Hester in my lifetime is, clearly the best returner that I've ever seen in live action. So, and he's right there. I mean, I would put him right after. I mean, just the way he runs with the football, he's so aggressive, and I think Atlanta's doing a tremendous job of moving around in more location than you've seen him maybe in the past. So he's a focal point, clearly, of their offense. You can see that with just the number of touches that he gets. But he is so dangerous with the football. I mean, I went back and looked at some of his next gen stats. I mean, he's cranking at 21 mile an hour quite often. So when he gets the ball in his hands, I mean, he gets in the high gear right away. So you got to tackle him, you low tackle him, and gang tackle him. But extremely productive player.
Thank you.